towards it. Um, so how are you doing though?
Good. Just been real busy today trying to promote a show that I got coming up, and other than that, just trying to make it through the day.
I like your background of your wall.
Thanks. Yeah, this is the jam room. I got my drum set behind me and my guitars and everything. There's a piano over here and all kinds of records. Do a lot of listening to records.
That's fun. What's your favorite record that's on the wall?
Oh man, on the wall. On the wall. Well, it's hard to choose out of all the ones on the wall, but I do have another 45. I'll get it. Let me show you. So this is, I don't know if this counts, but this is a limited release that they did a couple years ago in 2019. And it was like the original, like first studio recording of Feel For You by Prince. Prince is like my all-time favorite. But this one, they only made like a certain amount of these, and they accidentally put 2 B-side labels on mine.
Oh.
So it's like even more rare because I've talked to a couple like big like Prince record groups, and like only a few other people have had that same problem.
Does he put purple on all of his records?
No, but they're starting to do that a lot more now with them. Like the colored vinyl is kind of the more popular thing to do with releases now, it seems like to me.
Where are you playing at this coming up show?
I'm gonna be at the Record Bar on March 25th. I'm gonna be opening up for let me pull the thing up here. I don't got everybody's name memorized yet. I'm gonna be opening for, quite frankly, A Side of Jam, Grindstone, Say That Again, Jolson and the Fear of Snakes, and the Silhouette Six.
Are those new bands from Kansas City, or they're just out of town?
I think they're all local to Kansas City.
Never heard of them.
But I know, quite frankly's gotten their name out there quite a bit. I know that Paul Rudd is like a fan of them. But that show's going to be on Friday, March 25th, and it starts at 7, and I'm the first one going on.
Oh, that's cool. So are you going to be like the first artist to be on stage, or?
Yeah, I'm the opener for it. My set will start at 7.
Gotcha. Nice. So how did you start? Like, is it hard for you to write a song, or do you write your own songs?
Yeah, a lot of my sets that I do, a lot of the songs that I do are originals. It's kind of a thing that I just started doing. I started like actually like trying to do something with music at the end of my freshman year in high school, and it just like writing songs was just kind of an outlet for me to like help myself like de-stress or like get out like things I was thinking about. And then eventually I kind of started getting into more like the storytelling with the lyrics and everything. But every song's really just kind of different. Like there'll be times where I'll just be like standing looking at the wall behind me, and then I'll just be like, boom, there's a song. I'll sit down and write it. And then there'll be other times where I have an idea and I'm like, oh, this would be really cool to put into a song. But then I spend like 2 weeks trying to get it out, and I barely get like a verse down. It's a total hit or miss thing, but like whenever it happens, it's almost kind of like a dream state. Like you get the idea, and if you don't hit it right when you get the momentum for it, a lot of the times you lose it, and then you spend like the rest of the week wondering like, man, what would have happened if I just sat down and spent that extra 5 minutes dedicating myself to that idea and everything.
That does ring a bell.
For sure. Like,
it's tough writing the song because it's you have the idea what you're going for, but it never comes out of your in the words, right?
Yeah, it's I really wanted to like draw whenever I was a little kid. Like I'd always have the ideas in my head, but I was never good enough at drawing to be able to actually like make the pictures I wanted. So that's when I got a camera and I just started taking pictures of stuff because I could never draw it. And it's kind of like that with songs, like what you were saying, like you got that idea and you gotta everything's got to line up just at the right time to get it to work out.
Do you have other people to like, so you write a song and then you record it, and then do you send like the song to somebody else so they can get like just your idea going, like giving you like different vibes? Because I do
Yeah,
it.
so
I have that. I do the same thing, and then I get, if they like it, I say, oh, okay. Do I have to change it? Do I have to make it better? And then I go back at it and redo it again.
yeah, I've got a pretty diverse as far as like music taste group of friends, and there's a lot of them, like some of them are musicians and some of them aren't, and a lot of the times when I end up like actually writing the songs and like putting everything together and making like a demo of it to send to people, it's like 2 or 3 in the morning. So a lot of the times it's just like whoever's up and will like respond to me.
Yeah.
And I'm just like it's back to that like momentum thing. Like it's just I don't really want to lose momentum on the idea. But there have also been times where I've gotten a response and it's helped out, and like there's been like what you were saying, like switching up the vibes of it by different people giving in different ideas. And
Yeah.
it's really cool, like whenever you have like a group of people like that. Like now more than how it used to be for me, I would say I have a better group of people that I can send stuff to and bounce ideas off of, and who know kind of the general direction that I'm kind of aiming with things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's everything's just super hit or miss. Like it all happens for a reason, and you either get it right when you got it, or you got to wait a little bit for it to come back to you in a new shape.
Was there any like, did you write any songs about other people?
Oh, for sure. Like there's a lot of the times, like when people ask me like what I wrote my songs about, like I like to like refer back to something that they taught us in school one time. I forget whose quote it was or like what definition it was, but it was like the definition of poetry is like to interpretation or something. And like it was really cool. I have a song called Copenhagen Kisses, and it was like the song that really kind of got things going for me as far as like people starting to kind of like get to click with certain people and they could help me out. And I learned a lot from like showing people that song and playing that song for people in different audiences. But the coolest thing about that one for me was the fact that like whenever I wrote it, I was just kind of like trying to create this story of like this guy, he got his heart broken and he's at a bar, and the chorus is the only thing she'll miss is your Copenhagen kisses underneath the neon light. So he's sitting in the bar, like looking at whatever neon light, whether it be an open sign or whatever you'd see in a bar. I'm sure there's lots of neon in whatever bar he's in.
Yeah.
And the only thing that's buzzing is someone else's loving underneath that neon sign. So he's sitting in the bar that they used to go to, and he's seeing all these other people, and yet he's alone, and he's kind of like like I'm sure you've been in that same thing. Like you're with somebody and you go back to a place that you've been with the person before, and you start getting those memories back and everything.
Yeah.
And that's like what I was trying to picture. And the whole song's kind of built around that idea. Like you're doing things, and as you're doing them, you're getting those memories of how you've been with somebody else and stuff. And that's kind of the story. But then I played it for somebody, and like whenever I was talking about Copenhagen Kisses, I was talking about like the chewing tobacco. But whenever they heard it, they were like, so what happened in Copenhagen? Like the place. And I was like, well, that just opens like a whole different idea to go around with it. And that's really whenever it like super opened my eyes to like, you know, however I write the story, somebody else could see it a whole different way.
Yeah.
And like before I play a set somewhere, I'm always like, hey, if you guys like what one of my originals and you have an interpretation of the story, feel free to come up to me after the show and like tell me. I'd love to hear it, because it's always so cool to like see what other people think of like things that you've written about how you feel and stories that you've created and everything.
Yeah, I get that a lot. That's totally makes much sense. Because I have a song called Beautiful Girl, and that's like mostly about a girl that's been on stage, and she's just on stage doing her thing. Because it's mostly about a girl she's a musician that lives in Kansas City, and she was in a band called the Beautiful Bodies, if you heard about them years ago. But now she's a solo musician in Los Angeles. But besides about me, let's see. Do you have a favorite musician though?
Favorite musician would definitely be Prince, but John Mayer is also in that circle. Like I could name them off for days. I love music. If you if you didn't notice, like I could spend my whole day just listening to it or playing it or anything, as long as it's going on. This is like one of the rare occurrences that I don't have at least the radio on. Like,
yeah,
there's always something playing whenever I'm around.
Do you listen to the radio more or online radio?
Well, I like to kind of listen to the traditional stations like KY 102, 101.1, sometimes 98.9, but I try to stick to like the traditional stuff, because like hearing like the same like DJs and radio hosts that I've heard since I was a little kid, and since like maybe even my parents had listened to whenever they were like teenagers and everything, like I think it's cool to kind of carry on that I guess tradition, and to be able to like relate, like, oh yeah, they did this on the radio, and I'll be talking to them about it, and they'll know exactly who I'm talking about, even though like we've probably never even met them in person. Like,
yeah.
But I also do my fair share of listening to music on Spotify and SoundCloud and all that.
There's a lot of radio stations, or like the radio stations I listened to on like the Buzz back when they had it, because now it's like gone. All of them left, so there's not that kind of fun radio anymore, or the Buzz, or the Sunday kind of things on Sunday they always play at the radio station. But yeah, it's sad.
Well, I definitely understand what you're saying. Like, I feel like whenever I was younger, there was a lot more things built around like the radio. Like now it's more of like social media, like the meetups and stuff, and like come here and you can see this person and we're doing this event. And that, I feel like that was a lot more of like a radio thing too. And I definitely think that they should bring that back, because even if there's a lot of people like listening to the Spotify and YouTube and all that, there's still people who listen to the radio every day when they go to work.
Yeah.
There's still people who listen to the radio when they're at work. And it's definitely something that's kind of fighting for its like spot, but I still definitely think it deserves it, and I think it needs more attention.
Yeah, I mean, I did radio in college, and I liked the radio, doing radio in college, because it was just listening to random different types of music that people just played that they had on their iPads or whatever pods or whatever they used back in the day. I don't know, when they were children. I don't know. But do you listen to the Beatles at all?
Yeah, I've got some Beatles stuff that I listen to. Definitely, like with a lot of the Beatles have such a big fingerprint on music. Like even if you don't like straight up just listen to the Beatles, like you're listening to the Beatles in some way, shape, or form. And that's the same with like a lot of bands like the Stones and really everything. Like Hendrix, he's got a huge fingerprint. Like it's it's really cool. One of the things I like to do is like look at the artists that like I've idolized growing up and like that I listen to currently and look at who influenced them. And then I'm like, oh, well, that's where they got that from. Like it's cool to like track it back to where it all grew from.
Did you watch the documentary that was on Disney Plus?
I actually haven't got the chance to watch it yet. I've seen a couple of clips of it online, but I haven't actually got to sit down and watch it yet.
It's good. It's really good. If you get a chance, I think it's still on. I think just keep on playing it. Let's see what else. What would be your favorite place to play if that you haven't played yet and you really want to
That
play?
I haven't played yet? Oh man, I'd really anywhere. Like this show that we're getting ready to do at the Record Bar, like I freaked out whenever they asked me if I wanted to be a part of it because like I haven't been to a concert there yet, and it's kind of funny that the first time I've been there is for a show that I'm in. But I know a lot of people have gone there to see people, and I know that there have been a lot of people that have gone there to like play and like started, and I was just like super duper stoked whenever they asked me to be a part of it, and I'm super ready to go and be there. And I hope that there's a there's a lot of people who are going to be there and going to be able to tell me their interpretations of my songs and stories and everything. And looking forward to meeting a lot of new faces.
That's cool. I've been to the Record Bar, the first music venue that they had in Westport, and then then they closed it. They closed their doors for a while, and then they reopened into a different building. I haven't been to the new building yet, but the last building I had a benefit concert there for other bands because I was doing something with a VH1 at the time.
Oh, cool.
So I was doing like something for a Save the Music Foundation or something.
That's awesome.
So, and it was fun. It was all the bands that I knew and were friends with, and they were interested in playing. But it was fun. Did you ever go to the Right Room before?
I didn't get a chance to.
That was a good venue too. I mean, there's several new ones I think opened that I haven't been to.
Yeah, I just with one of the bands that's going to be at the Record Bar. We had a show a few months ago at a new club in Westport called The Source. It's spelled Sourze.
Oh,
But
is it nice?
yeah, it's really cool. It's kind of by Mills Records. You know where that's at?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's right over there by that. But it's like three stories. Like the bottom floor is kind of like it's where you go in at, and then there's like a counter for like a bar, and then it kind of turns into like an art gallery as you go into the back, and then you go up the stairs one level, and it's just kind of a spot where you can like sit down on a couch and like hang out. And then once you get up to the third floor, that's where they have like the stage in the back, and then there's like this room full of mirrors, and I think there's a bar in there.
Oh,
But
that's
it's super cool.
sounds really dope. um, how do you have like all your music done? like recorded and everything?
Not necessarily. I have a lot of songs that I haven't even gotten music built around the lyrics yet, and there's a lot of stuff that I haven't even gotten a good demo recording of yet, just because I've been so busy. Like, I'll write the song. There's a lot of times, like, I'll write a song, and then a couple days later, I'll go play it at a show, and I'll just be like, "Hey, I wrote the song a couple days ago. Let me know what you think of it," and then I'll just play it. And but no, I had started working on an album right before COVID happened, and right when COVID happened, everything just fell apart and didn't end up getting to finish it. But I recently did a live studio session that they recorded out at Delta Rhythm Studios. Basically, it's a really cool space. The guy who runs it's really nice. He's very helpful, very knowledgeable, and basically asked me to come out. Said, got to have a 30-minute set of just original music. He's got all his equipment set up in this room in his studio in his house, and then there's cameras set up around the room, and you just start off, you go through the set, and then he goes through. Once you're done, he mixes and masters everything, edits the clips and puts it up on YouTube. And it was a really cool experience, and it ended up the video ended up turning out really well. I think it's at like around 500 or 600 views right now, but he did a great job editing that video and mixing and mastering the audio for it. But I was really happy with how it turned out, and I think he was too. But he has all kinds of artists come in and do it of all different genres and everything.
That's cool. Have you been on any other podcasts recently?
No, this is actually my first one.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, whenever I first started out, it was a really weird experience. When I first started like doing shows, there was this guitar store out in Atchison, Kansas called Muddy River Guitars. They just opened a new storefront in Kansas City like a year or two ago, I think. But they had an open mic that they would do like every month or two, and I'd go out there and do that because that was pretty much the only place I really knew about to go do like play at. Because they're like, I just didn't know very much about the music scene in like St. Joe and in Kansas City, and I was still not super comfortable with playing in front of like a super huge audience, and I was only like 15 or 16 at the time. And but anyway, before we were going there, there's like a McDonald's like right down the street, and I was like, oh, I'll get something to eat. So we go in there, and I was wearing my varsity jacket from my high school, and these guys walked up to me. They're both like 7 feet tall, and then there's like one dude who was like maybe like 5 foot something. I don't know. He was like more average height compared to the other two, but they made him look shorter just because he was with them. And they walked up to me and they're like, hey, I don't recognize that jacket. But it had, there were like patches on the back because we just gotten into like the playoffs or something that year. So they were asking me about that, and they're like, well, we don't recognize that school. Did you come all the way to Atchison to get McDonald's? And I was like, no, I'm actually playing a show up here right up the street here in a little bit. And they're like, all right. And and we ended up talking a little bit more, and then they checked it out, and they after that they walked up to me and they're like, well, we're actually radio hosts for this like small like radio station, and we're wondering if you'd like to come do an interview. And I was like, well, sure, like, yeah. So the next day they ended up, it was kind of similar to this, like we did kind of a video chat thing, but they like mixed it into where it would be like if I was there. And it was like an hour or two long interview, and they had like people come in from around the world and like ask questions and stuff, and it was a really cool experience. I was definitely freaked out at how like 15 or 16 about how there was people from England like asking me questions about my music and everything.
That's cool.
but definitely a fond memory. They were really, really cool guys.
Is anybody in your family talented besides you?
Well, my mom was a singer, but she doesn't really do that too much anymore. My dad also played guitar and drums, but he also doesn't really do that anymore. But like they'll sing and jam out in the car from time to time. But other than that, it's really just me that's doing the music. But they've been super duper supportive of it ever since I started it, and like been nothing but helpful whenever I've needed, like whenever I was younger and couldn't drive, if I needed a ride to a show, or like if I was like freaking out about being there by myself. They've been at pretty much every single one of my shows. And if they missed it, it was like I would live stream it. They would watch it on there. Like, but it's been really cool. We also got a lot of photographers in my family, but there's all kinds of art that we do, but everybody kind of just does their own thing now.
Yeah. Do you ever see yourself being on like TV, like The Voice or American Idol?
I have kind of mixed like feelings for that. Like it's a really good opportunity, and I know a few people who have been on there and like done that route,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just it's really hard because there's so many people that are there for that same reason,
Yeah.
and it's a lot more competitive, and you're also kind of like signing away the rights to yourself in a sense whenever you do that. Like I've done some research, and like some people are like couldn't do their own original songs because they had done them on the show or something, and the show had like bought the rights to their recording or something. But the way that things are now with social media, it's almost easier to just like throw a throw a couple bucks into some advertising and just make a nice video and try to put that out there on TikTok or something, because it's really all about timing, and if you get that lined up right, it's like right away for you.
Yeah. That's that I've talked to other people about the Voice, and they have the same. They don't like how they kind of take your music away from you, but it's sad about this industry.
It's entertaining to watch, I will say that, and there's a lot of super duper talented people on there, but it's like it hurts to like see those people with all that talent, like the moment they get voted off, like you don't really get to see what the rest of their journey is like unless you like follow them on Instagram or something. But
Yeah.
that just leads back to, why would you spend the time and risk losing rights to your music when you can just spend the extra money right off the bat and try to advertise it a little more and pick it up right? Like whenever I started, you can get DistroKid now, and you can be your own label. You can put your own stuff on iTunes now. You can get it on Spotify. You can run it all yourself. It's just about how much you're willing to dedicate to advertising and putting yourself out there, and really just trying to make your name known by as many people as you can get to listen.
That's true. That's totally true. So I use Tunecore, and it's a same thing as DistroKid, but I guess um you can get more songs out of that than Tunecore, but whatever. It's the same kind of process, I guess.
There's lots of different routes you can take with it, but with like DistroKid's like lowest package, I think it's like $35 for a whole year, and you just go on there, you put your music in there through the file, you do your cover artwork, and then you click which ones you want it, which services you want it to be on. They run it through a thing, and then next thing you know, it's on all the platforms. Then you just got to advertise
it. Yeah.
Like it's so much easier now. It's just there's a lot more competition now.
Yeah. And new shows coming on every other month.
For sure.
A different contest to win a record deal.
And then like, who's to say that that's going to work out well once you get on there, because they're going to want you to do what they want and not what you're going to be thinking you're going to be doing right when you get into that.
Yeah. There was somebody I was did an interview with a couple months ago, and she was about to come out with a show, and she's, I guess we hadn't really finished talking about it because it was secretly. But
yeah, they do a lot with contracts now to where you can't really say too much.
Yeah, it's like, okay. But yeah, but it's fun, I guess. I mean, for different things.
If you use it correctly, it's a really good way to get exposure. I mean, you get on national television for that, you sing a song, and then you're like, well, I guess I'm out of here. And then you get all those people know who you are now. You can start marketing yourself that way. But it's however you want to use it, really. And it's a system that'll work for a lot of people. But
yeah,
I don't really know if that's the way for me. Maybe I'll end up there one day. Maybe I won't. I don't know. It's kind of it's just as much of a go with the flow as it is you got to work your butt off to get things right.
Like when I've talked to people about this, they say, oh, I get no, like somebody told me about it, or somebody wants me to be on it. I'm thinking, how did you get all that? How did you get into the doors that quickly? But I don't know. I guess they know people. Let's see. Do you have a favorite album you like to listen to?
Favorite album? I can show it to you.
Besides the one you showed me?
Yeah, so that one I showed you was a 45, so that one's only got 2 songs on it. But this one, let me find it. I purposely sat myself next to the record cabinet because I knew you were probably going to ask me a question like this.
Oh.
But this is probably my favorite album. It's Prince's second studio album. It's self-titled. Let me see if I can get the glare off for you. But this one's an original press, but I've literally like listened to it so many times that the grooves are like worn out on it. So I need to get a new one. But yeah, the B-side of that album, I love it so much.
Is that your favorite music you like to play besides anything else? What's like, do you have a top song you like to listen to on your Spotify account?
It kind of fluctuates. Like as the year goes on and like different moods hit, I listen to a lot of artists on repeat. Like there's a lot of times where I listen to just 90s country, like on repeat. Like that was my jam for like 3 months. And then next month I'm listening to John Mayer all month. And then the next month I'm listening to Led Zeppelin. And then like it just bounces all over the place. And even while I'm listening to just one artist for that whole time, I'm still shuffling between all the other ones in behind that. Like I'm a super big hair metal fan, but I'm also a 90s country fan. I'm a big David Bowie fan, and I'm also a Prince fan. And like I'll listen to Bob Marley, and I'll also listen to like some of today's normal pop music. Like it's just constant like ping pong between genres and time periods for me. I just love music.
Okay, so here's another question. Who would you want to play with that's alive or dead?
I really like that. I think would be a really cool person to work with like that would be Butch Walker. He have you heard of him before?
Is he country?
No, he's kind of alternative rock, but he's done a lot of he's done a lot of sound engineering, and he's also done writing. Like he's written for Taylor Swift and other people. But he's actually performed at the Record Bar. He was one of the people that my dad saw there. But I think it'd be really cool to work with him. He's still alive, but he's a really big influence on a lot of my like songwriting and stuff. Obviously Prince, obviously David Bowie. Like David Bowie's whole entire like musical vision on everything. Like there was one documentary I watched where he was talking. He's like, I didn't even want to be famous. I just wanted to have access to the tools I needed to create the sounds that I wanted to.
Yeah.
Like he was talking like that, and I was like, yeah, that really makes a lot of sense. Like once you get to that level that he was at, any idea you have, you can figure out a way to make it happen like that. Like you can call somebody up. If you can't do it, you can call somebody up that can do it. And then you can work with them on that. And I think that's super cool and a super cool like way to look at it. But really, like you could pick any record off of this wall and I would just be thrilled to even like meet them and shake their hand. Like it's just anytime I've met anyone who's done anything with music, it's just thrilling. Like my friend, he's close with the old Motown groups, the Temptations and the Four Tops. Have you heard of them?
No.
The Temptations sing the song My Girl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they were playing out in Wichita, Kansas, and he was like, hey, you want to go see him and meet him? And I was like, well, yeah, let's go do it. So we drove out there, and they were the nicest people. We stayed in the same hotel as them. We got to hang out with them at the hotel. When we rode into the venue, like it's this huge like arena. We went in and got to actually go in through like the VIP entrance with the band. And we got to we ate dinner backstage with them and watched like a playoff football game at the time and got to hang out with them back there. And then right whenever they were getting ready to go on, we went out through the side door with them. And one of the security people brought us to the pit, and we got to sit in the pit next to one of the members' wives and everything. And we watched the concert. And then after the concert, we got to go back and hang out with them backstage. It was a super, super cool experience. And they were all super nice and super inspiring and had a lot of wisdom to share on everything. And even like the members of the band, like I talked to some of them backstage and they were really cool and supportive and everything. But that was definitely one of the coolest like experiences with people from music and being in a musical atmosphere that I've had.
That's really cool that you got that chance to do that, because not a lot of people get backstage and do all the fun things that what you could see behind the doors or whatever. And mostly all those questions. I don't really have any other ones that I could think of. But it was where can people listen to you at or find?
They can check out that I don't really have any of my newer stuff uploaded onto Spotify currently. Since I haven't really got a good like mastered version of it. But if they want to listen to me, they can go to the YouTube video I was talking about that I did out at Delta Rhythm. I'm trying to find the title of it so I can tell it to you. It's Lukas H-Bar Sessions at Delta Rhythm Studios. If you look up Delta Rhythm Studios on YouTube, it should take you to the channel. It's a full 31-minute and 54-second session that I did of all my original music. They did a super good job mixing and mastering it, as I said, and it was a really cool experience. And if you want to get anything recorded, I recommend going there. I do have some of my older stuff on Spotify, but I don't know if you guys want to hear that or not. That's it's not the best. And if you want to hear me live, you can hear me on March 25th from 7 to 7:20, I think, is my set at the Record Bar.
Do you have any social medias?
My biggest thing right now is I have a Facebook group that I started. It is called Lukas Updates, Showtimes, and More. You can go on there. I'll probably share this interview in there. It's got 639 members right now, and it's pretty much where I share anything to do with updates, show times, and more. It's got all the Facebook groups for any of the shows. It'll tell you how to get to them. If I'm planning on playing somewhere, I post it on there. If I am doing a merch drop, I've got some stuff planned out for that. I put it on there. If I do any live streams, it goes on there. And I also just teamed up with this company called Laylo, and it's kind of a service where you can click on the link, and then it'll ask you which way you'd like to be notified. And I think it's like text, email, and Facebook Messenger. And whenever I do an update, it'll automatically send you an alert to your phone with that update, so you don't even have to check the Facebook group.
Oh, that's cool.
But cool. I just started working with them a couple of days ago, so I'm excited for that. I think it'll be easier for some people, especially since people are starting to not use Facebook anymore. I'm trying to figure out other ways to be able to get a hold of them. I also got Instagram. My Instagram's at the local space cowboy. But yeah, those are pretty much the two main ones I use to do with my music, at least. And my email for music is lucasmusicmailbox@gmail.com.
Awesome. Thanks for doing this interview with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been fun. Definitely a good first interview to have for the online style.
Yeah. Well, it was good chatting, and I'll let you know when this is up and running.
Alrighty. Well, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Talk to you later.
Alrighty, have a good one.
You too.